Shalom, Ahab, Va, Baraka. In other words, peace, love, and blessings. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Wahab, Rakakwadash, and double honors to the elder apostles, the prophets, and the teachers at GMS that have been bringing out this 100% truth for the last 30 plus years, not wavering to the left or to the right. And you know, if you really think about it right now, before I get into the class, it's really important. I mean, you've got videos of Nathaniel getting chased out of Kenya. You got videos of Nathaniel getting lined up at the barbershop. You've got text messages where you can look at Chief Priest Alazar sending messages about what we would call the most unholy of holies. And so it's really important. Every time I tell you guys, double honors to the elder apostles, the prophets, and the teachers that have been bringing out this 100% truth for the last 30 plus years. And with that being said, also I want to bring out one more thing to the sincere Akwa salutations. But with that being said, let's get right into it. Today we're just going to do a class. Haven't named it yet. Let's go ahead and call it some notes about the let's get some notes on the 7 heads. How does that sound? All right, let's go ahead and get right into it, though. Let's get right into it. Let's go to the book of let's go to the book of Genesis. Uh-oh. Let's see. Book of Genesis, chapter 27. Hold on. I got a backup today, just in case one starts acting up. I got a backup, and this one's already trying to play games. That's all right. Genesis chapter 27, and we're going to start at verse 38. All the way from the beginning. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. So in other words, he was like, you got to have something for me too. You can't just everything be for Jacob. Let me get an instant real quick. And actually everything was for Jacob. Jacob received the blessing. So he also got a blessing too. And let's get it. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. Okay, so he's got a blessing. And by thy sword shalt thou live. So, and that's the point right there. And by thy sword shalt thou live. All right, so Esau legitimately lives by conquering other nations and then putting his flag there. And we watched it throughout history. I mean, it's a dead giveaway who the Edomites are. If you can't figure it out, you're either in denial or you hate the truth. So you know the truth, but you're purposely gaslighting. Anyways, back to it. Let me center that just a little bit better. That's actually, I'm putting this Bible up because if you watched my class, it says Saturday class on Sunday because a couple of the brothers couldn't come out on Saturday. So we went out on Sunday and this person left a comment talking about how the something Bible, I forget who, I already forgot who, the Mormon or not the Quakers, the other ones. Doesn't even matter. they their Bible. It turns out that the Bible they were trying to say was a valid Bible is actually a German Bible. And I looked it up, and it doesn't actually line up with the King James or the other Bibles. So, Amish, the Amish Bible, whatever Bible they read, it ain't real. Just like the Mormons, just like the Hindus. But these guys are all calling it religion. Nobody ever wants to talk about when it's the truth. But let's go back to this class real quick. Sorry about that. I'm getting distracted. Let's get back to the class. So, and by thy sword shalt thou live. So Esau is going to live by his sword. Now, you know that the people that are out trying to conquer every nation and in every city and land is America at this time. So and then watch, we'll go through it right now. So, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion that thou shalt break the yoke from off his neck. Salakia. Yeah. Okay. Let's get Genesis chapter 27, Blue Letter Lexicon. And I wanted to just get the, I don't know, sometimes the words become important and sometimes they're not as important. But let's go back to it in verse 40. It says, when thou shalt have the dominion. So let's go down to verse 40 in the Strong's. And this is the KJV Strong's for all of you couch, comment board, couch groupies, however you want to call it, you comment board groupies. This is going back to the Hebrew. This is why we use the King James, because we can take the King James and take it back to the Hebrew and translate it. So all of these Bibles, if they can't go back to the Hebrew, then you might as well get rid of them, because that means that there's a mistranslation. All right, going back into it, verse 40. And it said, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion. What's the word dominion mean? Let's see. And it means, the word for dominion is actually, it's rood. Let's see.
Strong's H 7300. Rude. Rude.
So, what does the word to dominion, when thou shalt have the dominion, when thou shalt wander restlessly, when thou shalt roam, when thou shalt wander restlessly or roam, when thou shalt run up upon, invade, attack, okay? So, to go to and fro, run upon, invade, attack. When thou shalt have the dominion, when you've already done all this, and you know what? And this is beautiful when you look up these words. When thou shalt have the dominion, when thou shalt run upon, invade, and attack, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherein his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning of my father are at hand. Then I will slay my brother Jacob. So as soon as his father's dead, he's going to run up upon him and attack him. And he says that. I mean, he says it in his own words. Okay, so let's figure out what we're going to be talking about today. So let's jump around some, because I just opened up a book of old notes and I said, ooh, that looks good. I'm going to try those without even studying forward to see what's actually in the lesson. And that's really cool because that way you can really test to see how sharp your sword really is. Let's go to the book of Luke and chapter 22, and we're going to start at verse 26. But ye shall not be so, but he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger. And he that is, Luke 36. I was like, why does that not line up? Okay, 36. I do that a lot. Salakia. It's Luke 22 and 36. Then said he unto me, but how he that hath a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. For I say unto you that this that is written, must yet be accomplished in me. And he was reckoned among the transgressors, for the thing concerning me have an end. And they said, Lord, behold, here are 2 swords. And he said unto them, it is nigh. Okay, let me keep going. So, if you don't have a garment, sell your sword. If you don't have a sword, sell your garment and buy one. And the beautiful thing about that, it's talking about us today. It's talking about us today. And it's not talking about a gun or a knife or any of that. That's impossible. It's said if you don't have a sword, sell your garment and buy one. Have you ever heard the prophets go out on the street and say, grab me my sword? And what they're talking about is the scriptures. So if you don't have a copy of these scriptures in this day and age, you need to sell your garment and go out and buy one, because it's more important to be covered in this truth than it is into physical clothing. I hope you guys can understand that. Let's go to John chapter 18 and starting at verse 10. If you keep my commandments, you shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. So Yahushua is telling them, if you can, that sword that you're pulling out right now, if you can keep my commandments, that's the sword. And you shall abide in my love, even as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. So that protective armor and that sword is actually knowing this truth. All right, let's keep going. Verse 11, and it reads, oh, this is beautiful. These things have I spoken unto you, that my joy might remain in you, and that your joy might be full. This is my covenant, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lie down his life for his friends. Ye are my friends, if ye do whatsoever I command you. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant knoweth not what his Lord doth. But I have called you friends, for all things I have heard of my Father, I have made known unto you. Isn't that beautiful? And so we got to get a quick precept on that, because he's telling them, look, I just showed you guys that you got to get a sword in these last days. I was showing you Jacob has a sword, but Esau also has a sword. So that's why I wanted to bring that on the beginning. Like I said, I hadn't actually looked at these notes. I had to knock the dust off these notes, and I just wanted to go through it real quick. But there's 2 types of sword. That's why I'm going to name this class 2 types of swords. See, the sword that Esau has is a physical sword of conquering. That's why it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live. But our sword is a spiritual sword, and from let me show you. The weapons of our warfare are spiritual, not carnal, is what I'm trying to say. I don't want to chop it up though, so let me get it. 2 Corinthians 10 and 4. And you know, the great thing about that is that was I thought I was trying to get a precept. It was the very next note on the notes. So 2 Corinthians 10 and 4. For the weapons, and you know, I'm going to read this in the New Living Translation. It says, we use Yahweh's mighty weapons, not worldly weapons, to knock down the strongholds of human reasoning and to destroy false arguments. Man, that's beautiful. I'm going to read that again. We use Yahweh's mighty weapons, not worldly weapons, to knock down the strongholds of the human reasoning and to destroy false arguments. Now, remember I showed you Esau is the one that lived by the sword, right? So if he's living by the sword, he literally, how are you conquering countries when you're not using worldly weapons? That's not true. You can go into any aspect of the government at this time and see that all they do is bite and sell weapons. That's how they get rich. And then they own all the media, so they got you guys doing whatever they desire because they're going to control the narrative. Going back to Genesis 27 real quick, though, and 40. And by thy sword shalt thou live. And by thy sword shalt thou live. So what are you going to do? You're going to go and you're going to conquer a country, and then you're going to set up a garrison in that country, and then you're never going to leave that country. So what does that mean? You're going to go and fight battles in this country that's not yours, and then you're going to set up a base there, and you're going to keep that base there forever. Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Ukraine, you name it, man. Those are just those are off the top of my head, like all kinds of different spots in Africa. So this is real. So you guys do have a physical sword, and us as Israelites have the spiritual sword. And I want to read it one more time because, look, I just showed you. I have to keep showing you. I feel like I have to be redundant because people are hard-headed and they want to justify lies. So I'm going to read it one more time. Because, and plus, they love to paint the picture of Hebrew Israelites being a violent, nasty, a sottish sexual deviance. I mean, they really want to paint the picture deep too. And then they want to say black, because black means to be evil, to be destitute of light, to be no good. Okay, so we use Yahweh's mighty weapons, not worldly weapons, to knock down the strongholds of human reasoning and to destroy false arguments. So when you guys try to say that we're these deviants, we're saying that we don't use worldly weapons, and everybody that has gone against Elder Apostle Tahar to try and say that he was the deviant, they have literally been convicted of being sexual deviants. Moving on. I might have one or two more. Let's see what we got, and then we might just close out. So, like I said, the name of this class is going to be called The Two Swords. We have our sword, which is a spiritual sword. So let me read it in King James too, because we want to make sure that the King James takes it back a little bit differently. I mean, it's saying the same thing, but we want to make sure that the Spirit is included. So for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, they are not physical, but mighty through Yahweh, to the pulling down of strongholds. So we rely on Yahweh. We're mighty We're strong. We're protected through Yahweh. One more. Let's get it. Let's go to Genesis chapter 9. And we're going to go down to verse 6. Because like I said, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. They're spiritual, not carnal, okay? So let's go down to like I said, Genesis 9 and 6. And it says, whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. For in the image of Yahweh made he man. Wow. Did you guys hear that? So if you are out there living by the sword, guess what? We all know what the outcome's going to be for you. It says that your what? Let's see what the outcome's going to be. By man shall his blood be shed. By man shall his blood be shed. And I showed you that Esau literally lives by conquering. He lives by conquering people. He lives by taking over the spot. And let's get it. This is Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. The wicked are running this place. The wicked have control. The wicked conquer by using the physical weapons. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not where. And who is he? So he covers the faces of the real judges, the ones that you guys are making fun of right now. Man, you guys are going to guaranteed to not bring that same energy when you find out who we really are. You thought that you was playing like we were just all a bunch of dummies just making stuff up in the Bible. But when we told you until we were blue in the face, showing you the breakdowns correctly and you still didn't listen, it's because the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. And when he took over, he covered the faces of the real judges. And if not, where and who is he? If I'm wrong, you tell me. You tell me who the wicked is. Oh, it's the Arabs, because they're not in every country. They don't have a garrison in America. They don't got nothing in Canada. They don't even have anything in Mexico. But we got one in their country. So let's keep reading, though. Let's keep reading down a little bit. Now, my days are swifter than a post. They flee away. They see no good. That's us right now. Our days are swift as the eagle flies. In other words, our lives pass by us really quickly. Our days are swift. And they flee away. They see no good. So you tell me what the future looks like. World War III sounds good to you? It doesn't sound good to me. And it sounds like the end. It sounds like they're just trying to scare us as long as they can, to make as much money as they can. And then they're going to go through with this war and find out that they've gone too far. That's how I really feel. But let's keep going. Verse 26. They are passed away as swift ships, as the eagle that hasteth to the prey. In other words, quickly to get to that takedown. If I say I forget my complaint, I will leave off my happiness and comfort myself. And so we're not going to forget. We are not going to forget. If you think that you're going to just let bygones be bygones and we could all go into the pearly gates of the kingdom together, that's real life. You're going to get a rude awakening. You're going to get a rude awakening. You know what? I'm not done yet, because the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. And what did I tell you? They're going to sit there and they're going to produce their cost. That's what they're really going to do. Let's see. Let's go to the book of Revelation. Maybe I will just stop right there. I don't want to find out that I'm starting to mix like a couple classes into one. I just wanted to bring out a nice quick lesson. I am going to stop right there. I got one more verse, and I'm going to close out the way I always do with You know what? I'm going to close out with Obadiah this time. Obadiah, 1 chapter, verse 15. Obadiah only has 1 chapter, and we're going to go to verse 15. Obadiah, 1 chapter, verse 15. Where is it? Boom. And it reads, "For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As thou hast done, living by the sword and conquering the world, it shall be done unto thee." So you're going to live by the sword, you're going to die by the sword. Thy reward shall return upon thy own head. And man, it just brings another precept to mind. It brings another precept to mind. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to close out there though. We'll stop right there. I think I'm going to do another class is what's going to happen. So with that being said, if you got eyes to see and you got ears to hear, I hope this quick little exhortation about the 2 swords was edifying. Shalom.